She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
Welcome, 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 my beautiful sisters, to another episode of Never Date Just One Sis. It is your host with the most, Arthur China T, Coach Erica, and we're here to learn how to roster date if it's the last thing that we do. If you haven't purchased your Never Date Just One guide book for women to learn how to build their roster with intention, power, and femininity, I'm talking strategy, not scrambling, then you need to click the description on this video, get your copy of Never Date Just One Sis, as well as Play Your Position Sis, the fiction story that puts it all into play, okay? Now, for everyone else, stay tuned because I got some free items coming up. Since we started this journey, we've been learning how to properly date and how to properly assess men to determine if they are even worth hanging out with us. But after the first convo and after that first date, some of y'all are getting stuck in those text messages and on those long phone calls that you haven't realized that he's not putting in any effort, and consistency has went out the door. Once your feelings showed up, that's why I told y'all to stay sex and feelings free, your observations started showing out and you started becoming antsy trying to rush the process, sis. Stop it, okay? He still hasn't shown you enough, so let's discuss what happens after that first combo that leads to that first date. What goes on? It's no secret that the first combo and the first date are introductions only, not commitments, sis. Stop thinking he's yours until he shows you that he is. You are not vetting for love just yet. You're only screaming for potential. The only things you should be focusing on right now, sis, is you're collecting information and you're not keeping any emotions. And if you are, you keep those to the backs. You are silently asking yourself, do you feel good in his presence? Does he show up when you need him? Is he intentional or is he just bored? And does he try to impress you or observe you? Those are questions you should be asking yourself at this point. Let me give you an example. Let's say you had one on a dinner date with Marcus. He opened your car door, child, he paid for your dinner, and he asked you about 2 to 3 questions about your goals, sis. But he also spent a lot of time talking about his ex, and he made 3 sexual jokes. That's data, sis. Not red flags, not green flags, just data. No decisions will be made just yet. You are still in observation mode, okay? Maybe you also had a FaceTime with Jalen and it felt easy and flirty. You was able to talk. Then he followed up with you the next day and said, hey, he enjoyed talking to you. Let's grab tacos next week. That's effort, sis. Now, it's no time for you to get giddy, but you can, because in his evaluation, you're going to be able to document what Jalen did versus the first one. And wherever you don't like it, where the chips may fall short, you're going to keep it moving without any overinvestment or any problem. Now, of course, at this time, you're probably asking yourself, how often should you text or call him or expect communication? This is what many of y'all sis become over-invested emotionally. You're not chasing chemistry, sis, because we don't chase anything, we attract it. But what you should be tracking is his consistency. So put your emotions on the back burners and reopen your eyes again, okay? For one, we need to be looking for a healthy communication flow. Text should be daily or every other day, initiated by him. It could be a good morning text. It could be a thinking about you text. It doesn't matter what it says, as long as it's coming as often as he claimed that he like you. For phone calls, sis, be careful, because calls build emotional intimacy. And if a man wants access to you, without him going through the hoops, he'll consistently call you on the phone. So this should be 1 or 2 times per week, and sometimes 2 being too much. Let him show up in person. Sis, do not chase them and their energy. Do not double text to make sure they got the first one. Stop making excuses for long silences, telling yourself, oh, he probably just busy. No, because if he want it, he'll make time for it. And do not turn into a pen pal. A person who wants to be consistent with you should be doing it in person, not through text or over the phone. Here's an example. If David texts you every day but never plans a date, Dave is wasting time and trying to fill his own time. But on the other hand, if Chris calls you once a week and makes a plan every 10 days for y'all to go on a date, that means he's been active on your roster, sis. You should be rewarding that. How often should y'all be going out on dates? Great question. You are not a busy bee or a serial dater though, sis. You are a woman being pursued by multiple suitors because of you and your worthiness of these options. So your ideal roster activities should include the following. You should have anywhere between 3 to 5 suitors within the first 90 to 120 days. That's 3 to 4 months. You should be seeing each suitor 1 to 2 times a month minimum. If you have 3 guys on your roster, Darren, Joseph, and Hank, okay? It's 4 weeks in every month and you got 3 guys. So you want to make sure that you're dividing your time up how you should be between those 3 guys. So you may see the first guy during the first and the second week of the month, but you may only have phone conversation with him for the rest of the month or texting. You may see your second guy maybe during the second and fourth week of the month. You may see your third guy between the first and the fourth week of the month. However it is, you need to make sure that you plan out how to spend time with your suitors and you're not giving one person too much time. Let them ask for your time, sis. Don't be too available. This gives you space to evaluate without rushing into attachment. If you're out every night with different men, sis, it's going to feel more like chaos than clarity. And that's not what the roster dating is. Here's an example of how a weekly shift will go with your suitors. Week 1, you did a taco date with Jalen. The next week, you did coffee with Brandon and you did dinner with Marcus. The next week after that, you did a phone check-in with David, and then with Jalen, you had Sunday brunch. And a week after that, you met a new man. He entered the chat, but you only did FaceTime with him only. You don't feel too convoluted. Your emotions are not all over the place. Everything is balanced. You're giving each one time to show up, and you're not neglecting your own life in the process, sis. That is what roster dating is. For those of you who can't wrap your mind around it, it does not include emotions, too much time spending, or sex. What should you be looking for in the first 120 days? Well, this is still the probationary period, sis. Men must be proven that they belong in your rotation and they're worthy of any type of promotion that they're looking for. So you should be evaluating the following things: consistency versus intensity. And this is very important. When a man is being too intense, this is where the love bombing comes in, because he gives you big gifts, wants to spend all his time. He's trying to rush you to those titles. Versus consistency, where a man will call, he'll make plans in advance, and he'll follow up after y'all dates. Here's an example. Troy brought you flowers on y'all second date and said he's never felt like this before. But then he disappeared for 5 days. That's intensity, not consistency, sis. Because he showed up, gave you gifts, and then disappeared, how love bombers do. Now, we need to also be looking for emotional safety. Can you say no without being punished? Can you share your thoughts without being dismissed by this man? And can you disagree without it becoming a power struggle? You should be looking for these. Also, the pursuit. Does he initiate conversations, talking, dates with you? Is he curious about your goals, values, and your boundaries, sis? Does he make effort to impress you without pressuring you? All important questions to ask yourself within the first 120 days. You need to be also looking for masculine energy. Does he lead with direction, not confusion? How does he handle decision making and conflict? Does he make you feel soft, safe, and protected? Remember I told y'all about seeing all versions of these men? That's why you got to do this during the first 120 days. Let me give you an example. Jay always texts you and asks you what you're in the mood for, but he never makes a reservation. He may be sweet, but he is not in his masculine energy. Whereas Anthony makes it clear that he likes you. So he texts you, clear your Thursday. I got us tickets to that art show you mentioned. Not only is he being clear, consistent, but he heard you as well. One important thing you need to be capturing in the first 120 days is also the relationship capacity. Is he healed or still processing his past? Does he talk about we, or is it just me? Does he have space in his life for a relationship? And you need to make sure that you ask him that honestly and observe his answer and his actions after. Respecting your boundaries always need to be looked at within the first 120 days and more. Does he test your no? Does he push physical intimacy too early? Does he listen when you set standards? Sis, you say you want to wait before being intimate. If he starts joking about it or constantly saying, damn, baby, I can't wait too long, that's a boundary issue, sis, and it's showing up early. So keep your eye on stuff like this, because this is how y'all stop missing things so you can start making informed decisions versus decisions based on your emotions. Now, you're not dating for love in the first 120 days, sis. You're dating for clarity. Is he a provider, protector? Is he a leader? Every man should feel like he's trying to earn his spot, not just going to get it because you don't have any other options. And don't become too emotionally exclusive before a man is logistically exclusive with you, sis. Y'all got to learn how to pull your emotions back. I'm not saying they won't come, but they don't need to be talked about, and they should not be showing up until he showed out with his. Not only would there be a link for you to get your Never Date Just One guidebook, as well as player position, there are also going to be a link for you to download a free copy of your roster review sheet. Everybody who has a copy of the book, make sure you download this as well. Much like your roster in your guide, this sheet includes a table to track your suitors and their weekly effort, reflections, questions to review each man every 30 to 60 days, and a clean layout to keep your roster tight and intentional. Okay, so you want to add this to the roster if you have the book, or you want to use this as your beginning guide on your roster until you get your copy of Never Date Just One, sis. Hit the link on this video to get that copy, as well as player position, sis, so you can see exactly how Shantae was able to manage her roster up until she became married. Now, sis, first date or first conversations, we always know they're important. But what happens after that? Either he's shown effort during that first date that you want to continue dating him and add him to your roster, or you've already dropped him off to continue to pursue him as a friend, versus you just having somebody there who may serve better as a homeboy than a lover. Thou shalt not cut anyone off that serves better as a homeboy than a lover. If you don't know your roster of dating commandments, that's where you got to get your copy of Never Date Just One, sis, and it is in there. I will see you on Wednesday for Clean Your Dating Habits Up. Enjoy your evening.